Saturday, December the 9th, 2017 to you. And finally, no meteorite crashed down on my backyard. So I'm going to write about the draft agreement reached by the United Kingdom and the European Union. There is an important caveat which concerns this deal though. European diplomacy always works on the principle that nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. So theoretically what has been reached so far could unravel. And what has been agreed? Roughly speaking, the draft consists of three issues. First, the divorce bill will be between 35 billion and 39 billion pounds, 40 billion and 45 billion euros. More important, the UK will not pay a lump sum to the EU but pay over time. In euros, of course. Personally, this part of the agreement is not as interesting as the other two. That leads me to the second issue, the rights of EU citizens living in the UK and vice versa. EU nationals would be allowed to continue living in Britain, and those who do not yet have permanent residency would be able to acquire it after Brexit. Freedom of movement could continue for 2 years after 2019. However, UK citizens living in the EU will not enjoy the same freedom as EU citizens living in Britain. They would not move to live in another EU member's country without restriction. In my opinion, this is a sad side of Brexit. Britons will be somehow downgraded to a second-class status in Europe. Even further, the stripping of freedom of movement for UK citizens in Europe, whose estimated figure is around 1 million, signals how real Brexit is. People have been acting as if Brexit were something distant. Well, as Mrs. Theresa May's spokesman said, there is Brexit, which the British people voted for, and that's what we are delivering. And those Britons living in the continent shall be the first ones to pay the cost. Finally, both parties guarantee that there will be no hard border between Northern Ireland and that the constitutional and economic integrity of the United Kingdom will be maintained. What? Britain will be out of the single market and the customs union. Northern Ireland will not become a special territory lest Mrs. May could alienate the DUP support, and still there will be no hard border. By far, this is the most contentious affair. Indeed, the Northern Ireland peace process heavily depends on having the border open. I believe that a general election should be called before keeping on negotiating that matter, otherwise London will have to continue looking at the UK's face, which in turn will be detrimental to Britain's position. Before ending this letter, I would like to mention one issue I missed in the draft: Gibraltar. What will happen in Gibraltar? Is it that there are negotiations on the quiet between London and Madrid? If it were the case, then Mr. Rajoy would be some winner. Indeed, he could fulfill two of the caudillo's dreams. He clashed Catalan nationalism and could have the Spanish flag raised on the rock. Brexit. What a monkey business. But where is the business? And where are the monkeys? The world is still on.